In the United States, CPS makes upwards of $3 billion per day on trafficking and selling our children. The corruption may start with the caseworker, but goes through the judicial system, passing the governor through the Senate and into the White House. The entire system has a hand in the business known as CPS.
Our children are stolen every minute of a 24-hour day. They are being robbed of their innocence, their trust, their happiness. As parents, we are isolated and betrayed by a government we trust. States are balancing budgets on kids' lives. Only 12% of the kids taken will be reunified. Title IV funding is being riveted with fraud.
We need to stop CPS and abolish CPS.com is leading the way. Join us.
What's up, everybody? I am your host, the CPS Punisher, and this is CPS Victims Hunting for Justice. As you all know, we lost our friend Carrie last night, or I don't know if you know, but if you didn't, we lost our good friend Carrie last night. She leaves behind her little boy and a bunch of people that she's become good friends with, and just a whole bunch of people because she was such a good person herself. So as you saw in that intro video, if you guys want to donate some money to her family to help them incur any costs that they're coming across, that would be really cool. If you don't have Cash App, you can email us at CPSV Hunting Justice, and you can email us and let us know what ways you do have available to he's autistic. Just assisting that would be really cool. What else out? People. Okay, you guys can send something to me. Where it's supposed to be. So
we can barely hear you with that running down.
Sound, yeah.
what's up, folks?
You may have to mute Herbert. He's getting all his mics picking up a bunch of noise. There we go.
There's Herbert. Herbert's back here. All right. Well, does anybody have anything they want to say before we kick into this thing in high gear?
Well, I just want you all to know, you guys didn't realize the stuff that Carrie did behind the scenes for Darren. She was like the heart of this live to all of us and family to most of us. I myself talked to Carrie not even a day before she passed away with Herbert, and she was always still in good spirits. She always joked that, if something happened, he wanted to make sure Colton was okay and safe. And, I really feel that we need to benefit and help Greg in this time along with Colton, because this is going to really do some damage on this poor little boy, because mommy was number one with him. Carrie was one hell of a mother. And she did everything in her power to take care of Colton. So if you guys can help Greg and Colton, please, help out any way you can, even if it's a letter to Greg to say your condolences to him. Reach out, let us know.
I like to say that I've been with Carrie for, oh my God, I've been with you down about 2 years now with the show.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been with you for over 2 years. I've been with Carrie, and she was like the heart. She was like the heart of the show. She was the backbone of the show. She was a person that was right there. Like even when we got into our ups and downs, she got into the middle and sorted things out for us. And I truly will miss her. I mean, I really, really do miss her. I remember nights that I've had the opportunity to talk to her on the phone, just her and I. We would talk on the phone for at least 2 hours, just 2 hours about stuff dealing with her son, dealing with the school, and everything else. And because at first I never understood how come I couldn't reach her. And she says, because I had to have her phone to relax. Right. And I said, why don't you just give him his own phone? She said, he has his own phone, but he can't use his phone to relax. He has to use her phone. So I remember times I would call her on the phone. He would answer, and And I'm thinking she's answering, and I'm talking to her, and she wouldn't say anything. And then when I put my little puppy dog in front of the screen, he would stay on the phone. And I would say, I would talk like my puppy dog is talking to him. He would stay on the phone. But the second I asked him a question about school, that boy hung up. He hung up the phone.
Herbert,
It was,
Colton loved your. He
and
loved
then,
seeing
and
you.
he,
He loved watching you. Colton loved it. She
I
used to
know
talk about it all
he
the
loves
time.
watching. He loves. Yup, he loves watching me.
Hmm.
He likes watching my little puppy
Yep.
dog. So I would put the puppy dog on, but he'll never talk. He'll never say a word. He says to me, she says, Herb, you could talk to him about anything. He may not talk back, but don't mention anything about school. And one time I mentioned, so how you doing in school? Clunk.
You just don't.
He
Yep.
hung up.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I kind of miss that. Yeah, I really miss having those conversations. Yeah, 2 years. Wow.
And
Time flies.
She will be
I,
missed.
I wish I had more time with her. I had like 20 days.
Well, guys, I really didn't know her as much, but one thing that I do know is that energy never dies.
No.
Energy can only be transformed or distributed amongst other things. Those are some of the properties that are absolute within our universe, even known and or unknown. Part of those energies carry from what we do know, or what I do know of her, spent her time towards this effort of removing CPS from our homes and everything else. And I think that's part of it. Yes, helping out. One thing we're going to continue to do is it's no different. It's just, like I said, helping out. Who has left the person that loved her and loved the child during those times. That's family. Family doesn't always mean
Right.
blood. Family doesn't always mean these particular things, and the state don't respect those things. It's more about money, is what they see, and she understood that. That's why she was fighting so hard. And just think, I mean, the point of this is that we're still going to help, like we always help everybody else out there. We're going to help and equip them of what he doesn't realize what kind of fight he's in for. We do. We get a good idea of what is going on, especially in this particular situation. It's very difficult within the court systems unless you have certain cards to play. Um, but I think just moving forward is just continue to do what we're doing,
That's what
just
she
by
will.
helping people, just like helping him and helping you guys out there that are watching this, and continue to tear this down, as well as building towards, I know there's some personal things that we're working on with Darren and I, of working on our federal lawsuit to get this thing done. And trust me, with the stuff that we have, working together with Darren, and I know Carrie was a privy to a lot of that stuff, that there was hope. Hope this is going to end. I mean, that was the whole point, is people were starting to see the light, saying before, where there was no light, the only way we can beat them is in court, and shutting them down and exposing them, but doing it in a court, because anything else we learn in the legal system, it's hearsay. It's just like anything else. But when I hold you accountable in court, now we're playing a different game, which is exactly what we all had to experience, was this corrupt court system that is stealing children, that has no jurisdiction and no damn right. And if we really respected the highest law of the land, which this country does recognize as God's law put into to the case of, creation, continuing of our kind, and to interfere with that is actually against God himself and even his own law.
Yeah, and that's where Carrie is right now. She's standing right up next to him. She's like, "You go get their asses," is what she's saying.
Well,
That's
Yeah,
exactly what she's
yeah.
saying.
This is exactly what Carrie's saying.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly. And Danielle,
Oh,
Mm,
go ahead.
Danielle,
go ahead.
would you
Yeah.
continue what you were saying? Danielle, you were saying something.
Carrie. Oh, what I was saying was Carrie. I only got 20 days. I
Danielle,
couldn't get
continue
longer.
what you were saying.
Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me, Herbert? Can you not hear me?
I can hear you.
I,
I can hear you.
with Carrie, the short time that I got with her was like me and her clicked right from the get go. Like the phone calls, the conversations, we talked for days, hours. I mean, it would, like, the whole time with Colton and everything. And that's times I will never forget, because she helped me push me to do it, to not give up, to go for it instead of second guessing the situation. Or, she was my motivator. She was my pusher. She was my go-getter. And she also reminded me a lot of my mother in a good way. Like, she was more like she said, I'm stuck with her for life. She's like my sister. And I'm like, oh boy, and we would joke with Greg, and it's just, I miss, like, today the phone didn't ring for this morning. The phone went and it was quiet, and it's gonna be different. And then the show wasn't planned like it was. Like, we just went with it, and she didn't even, and I'll tell you, she didn't even want to be like live on the show. She didn't want to show her face, but she'd be in the. But it just so happened that first show that we did together, my very first show, and then she pops up on the screen, and she's like, and we stuck with it, and it just played out. And she's like, and that's what she said. She said, I feel like this is going to go somewhere. And then the last show that we did together, just yesterday, she said, never give up. At the end, she said, never give up. And just the whole show, the things that she talked about, she was just, and her passion was here for these kids and our families and America's families. So, and not tearing them apart. And trust me, she would want us to continue doing what we're doing, and just don't, she wouldn't want us to sit there and dwell on the sadness of it. She wants us, let's make moves. She was the goat. She was the spirit of and she's still with us, everybody. She is, like, she's gonna, in the podcast that I do, Unmasking Foster Care Corruption, it's gonna be in memory of her. That was our thing. And every time we got on, it just fell into, it was just, it's hard to say. Carrie was she don't realize how much she helped me and impacted my life. And it's very hard. And it's going to be hard without her.
I understand, Daniel. I know. It was a close relationship we all had with her.
Oh yeah. Like, and she just, there's things me and her spoke about that she confided in me, and I will continue on. I will do, and I will stand for her, and I'll do what I get. I'll keep fighting. I'm not giving up. And anything from here forward is in her memory. It's for Carrie, and for our families, of course. But Carrie was my motivator. She talked me out of a lot of things that I wanted to do, and trust me, she's very strong. She was a lot stronger than me, and now I'm there. I'm going to be there for Greg and Colton and her family. And I told him anything.
Yes.
Just don't hesitate to reach out, please. My phone, and he's reached out, and I just, because I know me and Carrie just had a conversation like this, and she was worried about him and the baby and the kid, and I'll be darned if I'm just. She's gonna always be in my heart. She's with me for the rest of my life. Like she said, I'm stuck with her, so she's stuck with me. So, and I told Greg that today.
This video right here.
Yeah, he's stuck with
me.
I'm so happy
that Darren was dedicating this show. I was so happy that Darren was dedicating this show to her.
Your grandson back home where he belongs.
Yes, definitely.
Put yours in here?
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm not gonna put yours in your hog.
She's getting the presents all organized.
Nice.
I was so dedicated.
Nice.
So far we got
dedicating this show to Carrie.
Yeah.
I think you and Darren need to take your turns with my kid. I'll trade him. You guys can have him for a while. I'll take the cats. Since you guys are all laughing and clowning about Christmas break coming up, you guys can come down here and hang out. And I'll go to your guys' houses.
Yeah. Well, keep your fingers crossed. Keep your fingers crossed, because I go to court next week. So.
Yes, I will. For sure. Sorry, I can't drink much water, so I'm trying to save up my water for today, right now. I can only drink 320 ounces a day. Ridiculous. Way more thirsty than that. So are we gonna watch Yeah, she is on TikTok. You're right, Debbie. She is. But she's not gonna be on here anymore. That was uncalled for. Darren's right. Darren doesn't do that to anybody. Sorry, I'm out of breath.
On TikTok.
Yep, that chick from earlier. So what have you been doing, Herbert?
Actually, I don't know.
I've been looking at
What are you cooking?
videos, and
Boy, that's Carrie
I've been
right
looking
there,
at
man.
videos, and I've been sending videos out. I'm sorry, Carrie, I didn't include you. I will. I'll include you also in
okay.
videos I sent to Darren. I sent to Darren,
Well, I'm
and I
yeah,
sent
back
to
to
Vinny.
again.
Actually, I
And
could
I'm
probably
home,
send
so
this one. I could send this one to Carrie, and she might be able to get it to go up on here because she's on a computer. So let
all
me
right.
send this link that
oh,
you sent me
Send it to
because then
CPS
Carrie.
Honey Justice. Okay.
I
Log
try.
out
I
again.
get them from. I get them. I get them myself. But I also get some from Tammy, and I only take the ones that are reasonable in length, not the long ones. You know, I send the ones that are
Right.
reasonable in length. In length to put on the show. Number one, and number
I
two,
only have
something
the
we could
abolish CPS one.
discuss.
The CPS
Carrie,
Something
I
that we
only
could
have
CPS
the
Honey
discuss.
I
Huh?
only have the abolish CPS one.
Do CPSV honeyjustice.com. I mean at gmail.com.
Yeah.
CPSV.
CPSV.
Yep. Hunting Justice. HUNTINGJUSTICE. Good
Now, if
job,
I
Debbie.
send you videos, if I send you
Huh?
videos, Carrie, through to show.
No, not through text because Colton's got my phone.
Can you
And I
can
already
you
logged
type
out
that
of
Oh,
in the chat, Carrie?
Yeah. Whoops. Hang on. It's still not showing yet.
Late 40s?
Sorry, Vinny, it's slow.
Oh, this probably why. It kicked it back to me. I don't know why.
What?
Oh, because it's in all caps.
Oh,
is
sorry,
it?
that's
Hey,
my bad.
Carrie, is it case sensitive? Carrie, is it case
It might
sensitive?
be. Yeah, it probably is, and it's all little. And I typed it with all caps. Sorry.
So it's all caps. Everything is in caps.
Try sending it to my other one. Vinny, try sending it to my other one, Leaper.
Okay.
So I'm writing
All right.
it down in all caps.
My brain's not.
All right.
No, all little. Sorry, I typed it wrong. That was my bad.
Where's the?
Whoa. Okay. The CPS
Talking in all caps.
V as in Victor, Hunting Justice is all caps.
Nope. All lowercase.
Oh, it's all lowercase. Okay.
She loved typing in all caps. Oh.
I'm trying to
Always.
find it. Oh, with you guys, I can only find one of them right now. Oh, here we go.
Oh, Debbie says she followed her until she did what she did to Darren. Did you get it? Yeah, Carrie definitely was the
YSL trial. If you watch that at all,
inspiration.
the Young Thug trial.
Mhm.
RICO is where everybody gets together and conspires to
Yes.
commit crimes.
Yep.
And
Commit fraud or fraudulent
yeah,
crime
anything,
or
any kind of crime, murder,
murder.
anything. Yeah, anything.
Like a group of, it's pretty much like a big group of
like the
what
mob.
Yeah, there
The
you go.
mob gets
I didn't
together.
want,
Yeah,
I didn't want to
so.
say that.
Well, I'm just gonna say it. No filters here.
Right.
Definitely no filters.
So,
Yep.
so like
in
a
background.
RICO means it would be like a group of people, like a big group conspires to commit a crime in So it all depends on what, like, I mean, it's anything. It could pertain to anything, really. It's just more than one. Because I believe that. Let's see. So racketeering influence.
Yes,
pretty much.
Honey,
Yes,
that's a good,
yes,
that's a good way to put it.
yes. That's the word I was looking for. Racketeering. That's exactly the
Yes.
word. I was about to Google it. She caught me
Yes,
off guard
I
with
ended up
that. She caught me
Googling
off
it.
guard with that
Yes.
question. Like I was
Yes.
like education, and then here we are about RICO. So and
We were
racketeering,
supposed to do a
influence,
show
and
on education about.
is that what you're talking about with RICO, Tammy? Like clarify and what do you mean by and with the RICO?
You guys ignore Greg. He doesn't understand what live means.
Yeah, Greg was on the show that day. That was funny. And yeah, same here.
We're almost done.
Well, he was listening to us. So yeah, we're close. We'll go ahead and close out. So the next, I know the Unmasked Facing Foster Care Corruption, my show will be on Tuesday at 3 next week, but we may do a show before then. I will get with the boss on that and Carrie. And also, was that you, Carrie, or was that Darren?
That was Greg.
I didn't know what that was. Look,
he's trying to dish my 10 cigarettes out to me.
Focus, Danielle. Focus. Okay.
Because I'm already on tomorrow's cigarettes.
I'm so glad I don't. This was our whole day. My dad ruined
conversations would carry on into
when I was
show.
young. Ooh, that Newport pack, I was as green as that thing when he caught me with.
Yeah.
I learned.
I didn't realize
I
we were
learned
on
my
the
dad.
show. We were live.
Like,
that's what I should do
not
myself.
my house. Yeah, and it's. I wish it's changed. The times have changed so much. Like
yes.
I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm like, now I feel like my mom did when she was my age. Like, Mom, is this how? And all right, so we're gonna. So the show. We got the Tiffin Punisher show. That's not going to be this evening. We got Vinny's the other show. Which one is that? CPS Fighting Justice. The 9 o'clock show. Okay, that's going to be Eastern time, y'all. So come in and join us. Anybody can join. Share out the live. Tell your friends.
Hit the like.
And
hit the like, please.
Yes.
Leave a comment.
Subscribe
you guys,
to us.
You guys, it just helps us grow. It helps us get us in the algorithm. Yeah.
CPS Victims Hunting Justice. Okay. Danielle, focus, Danielle. CPS
Email us no, it's CPS V Justice at.
Oh no, I was saying the name. I was saying the name of the show.
Yeah.
Look, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to get. No, you're good.
I'm gonna miss her.
It was just
Greg distracts me. I'm wondering why he's not putting the barbecue sauce on the ribs.
And what was the email? You can email the show. You can email us at what was it, Carrie?
CPSVHuntingJustice@gmail.com.
All right. And Tammy, I am going to look that one up. And the next show, I'll be more than happy to talk more about Mr. Dwight Mitchell and
this is
that
how the
situation.
show went.
I'm going to look into that.
The ones that we did.
Like, thank you for letting me know.
It was
So
perfect.
I'm definitely going to look into that because I know you've mentioned that even on the other shows with Dr. Fowler, I believe. So I'm going to look into that, and I will. He's stationed out in Minnesota, I believe. Wonder if I might have heard
that's close to me.
But all right, everybody. So we're gonna. That's our cue that we got to go. So y'all have a good night and happy Friday.
Thank you guys
and
for being here.
Thank y'all for joining us. Share it out. Let's get this on the party. Just pack it up. Let's all come together and we are unstoppable. And, we'll see y'all. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Bye.
Come by, Carrie. Bye, everyone. We're doing a tribute to a friend that we had lost, Gina. We are just playing some previous. Dwight Mitchell
Dwight Mitchell is from Minnesota. He's the American Preservation of Family.
And that's right. And that's who was.
Dwight Mitchell.
And Danielle, my show is CPS Victims Hunting Justice Vinny edition.
Yep, that's right.
Yes, it is.
That's the Carrie and Danielle edition. We were so random, and then with that show right there is one, and then every show was great. It was great.
When we're gonna have the Gunner show?
Gunner.
Listen, we are going to talk about that.
Why don't we give Gunner a show?
Darren, we have a couple things to cover that is on the agenda. I've been taking some time off because my eldest son or my youngest son turned 18 and aged out of this particular situation on part of the issue that I'm personally dealing with. So he's back home. So we were separated for over 2.5 years with a no contact. Basically, on top of it, even with my condition, I was told I had to have the pay or play thing of supervised visits with no conviction, no nothing on there, nothing to even do with my son, but that I had to pay to see my son. But then I was indigent with congestive heart failure to where I had to have a pacemaker defibrillator put in and waiting to get through all that stuff enough to buy me time to get on my disability and then actually get a heart transplant. So yes, CPS has affected all of us dramatically in many different health ways that they don't take into account of what if we're wrong or anything else, or even and we know how many times they're doing this, how wrong they are, that they just don't care. One thing I guarantee you on my particular case, and that's something I have to talk with Darren and we're going to go over. I believe that in my particular personal case, for that on the civil side, federal suit is we're going to be charging with attempted murder. Because it does fit, because there was no ADA given. They did not, no information was asked of a condition or anything else in there. It was just railroaded and just, Darren's seen my case. How bad is the case, Darren? Tell him you know some information on the case.
Well, I mean, they're all very similar. They're all just as bad. The fact that they can just steal our kids like that just makes them all, you know what I mean? They're all, at the end of the day, they kidnap our children, period.
Yeah.
You know, so that's bad. But yeah, no, you've got some things that are definitely.
Yeah, some of the things to give you guys an idea of is forgery. You know, your temporary thing to where you sign over your kids and everything else. My name was forged. They didn't even care. The judge didn't care anything else. Fourth Amendment rights were violated. They didn't care. We did address these in court, and the judge rolled over them and just didn't care. That bad. When I say, hey, I have a Fourth Amendment violation thing, it should have triggered a jurisdictional change. The judge addressed it, but then says we don't deal in that courtroom and proceeded on. That's illegal as fuck in our judicial system. You admitted you didn't have jurisdiction or you don't deal with those matters in the courtroom. That automatically qualifies your case. And I'm saying this for everybody, that automatically qualifies your case for a change of jurisdiction. Due to the fact that they don't have jurisdiction anymore. This is a federal matter. They don't deal with it. Well, it must be addressed because it's part of the case. That's the thing that they're not telling you a lot in these state courts, and we hear it all the time. My rights were violated. This changed jurisdiction. As soon as you have a constitutional issue, it can go from family court right up. You just got to make it. This ain't about family court. This is about constitutional issues, which we were trying to educate everybody along when we had released a lot of our information, was to file your federal case or change your jurisdiction over, because you don't have to wait for a civil case either. You can have a civil federal case going on while you're in with CPS and dealing with all that other shit. And it will affect pro versus say, because right now it'll tie up your case. It'll put everything on a big freeze till the federal case is resolved and find out whether or not there was constitutional rights violations. Because you got to understand, it works both ways.
Constitutional rights violation? Check
What's
this
that?
out. I'll show you some constitutional rights violations. Debbie sent me this today. Debbie Anderson did. Wait till you see this. Wait till you see this, man. That's the
thing you were going to share with me.
This is freaking unbelievable. Wait till you see this video. Watch this. Let me see here. We share this with you.
But guys, this is what we're talking about. That's why these courts are no good.
Watch this, man. This courts, the hell with the courts. Look at these cops.
Not letting us go.
You're going to get DCFS, put you in it, and then you're going to lose custody over 2 hands?
Nah, I'm not getting nothing because then he's going to take some. I ain't did nothing for you. So you're just going to take my name and draw it out the hat?
Right now you're doing it.
Doing what? I got everything on camera right now. What I'm doing? Right now I'm doing what? Right now I'm doing what?
I've told you.
You ain't telling me nothing. Tell me again. I ain't hear you. Tell me again. Then okay, get my lawyer, get your paperwork. Get my lawyer, get your paperwork. I'm just fine. You thinking me doing this? I'm not stupid, brother. Go get your lawyer. I have rights, partner. I know my rights. Holler at my lawyer and bring your paperwork. Get your paperwork. Oh, you need paperwork. You gonna take her? Come take her then. I'm telling y'all not taking her.
If I went over there and put my hands over, you gonna go over there?
Hell no.
Give me your baby.
Watch out, Bree. Because we leaning too much.
I love the
Watch
fact
out.
they keep the music
Yeah.
going.
I figured. I mean,
Bro,
she's
get the
gonna
fuck out
come.
my face.
She's gonna come with us either way.
You ain't finna touch her. I'm gonna break your finger if you reach over here and touch my child.
Please
If you touch me, I'm hurting. I'm
Please
watch
don't-
out, Bree.
please don't
I'm
touch.
leaning on her.
Please don't
Watch out.
touch. Please
I'm gonna
don't touch
speak for a
me.
second because
I don't care. I'm not giving her up.
All I'm
I'm
saying
not
is I don't
giving
want
her
your
up.
daughter laying over on you. is all.
She's not. She's not.
Well, she was.
No, she's not.
trying to shield you.
She's leaning on my hip, which is right here, which is stopping her. Which is my foot is right here. Look down, Bree. Hold on. She's leaning on my knee, which is my leg right there, which is my baby's back here. Come. Here you go.
Why are we putting your little one in this?
Nah, why you? If y'all let this dude come over here and reach, we gonna have a problem. Y'all see what he doing. I don't want him touching me. Do not touch me. Do not touch my child. Go get your paperwork. If you reach over here, we gonna have a problem. Reach over here.
Do my job.
Nah, you ain't doing your job.
He does
I'm
have
gonna take your
lawful
baby.
authority.
No, get your lawsuit. Go
I'm
get your
gonna take
paperwork
your
then.
He explained all
Get
this.
your paperwork.
Anthony,
Y'all niggas think y'all
why are you
talking
putting
to
her in
a
this
stupid
situation?
motherfucker?
Anthony, why are
Man,
you putting
go
her in
get
this
your
situation?
paperwork.
Why are you putting her in this situation?
Bro, get the fuck away from
You
me.
already
Go
know
get
what's
your
gonna
paperwork.
happen.
You
You already
think
know what's
you
gonna
know what's gonna happen
Why don't you
too?
just pass it over?
Then you know what's gonna happen
Why don't you
too.
just pass her over here?
Then I'm not. Then you know what's gonna happen too. Don't touch my child, bro.
For a second,
Joe,
Darren.
get your motherfucking hands off me. Get your motherfucking hands
Do
off
it.
me.
It's
Fuck you
your
do.
hands.
Assault. I want to press charges. That man just put his hands on me. I want to press charges.
You know how it's gonna
That
go?
man
It's
just
gonna
put
go-
his hands
these
on me.
charges are going
I
against
want
you.
to press charges. Then put them against me. Then I'm sort of shut out the department. I want to press charges. That man just put his hands on me. I
Yep.
want to press charges.
You
That
just
man
went
just put his
to
hands
crime
on me.
officer.
Just assaulted me.
It's your
But is
sworn
it
duty to
possible
do
That
something.
man just assaulted me.
that
That is a
They
simple
do
matter
And
an
get
He
somebody-
can
officer is
talk to what he
involved in.
want. He can say what he wants. Now he allowed to touch me.
And just
Are
witnessed
he
a
allowed
criminal
to
act.
touch me?
He's here.
Is he allowed to
And you
touch
still
me?
didn't
You
do
want me to
nothing
ask
about
your
it.
questions? Ask mine.
You're doing that.
Is he
Yeah.
allowed to
Their
touch
job.
me? Is this job position putting his hands on me? Is it his job prescription to put his hands on me?
I'll tell
Is
you
it
something.
possible that he could have just got paperwork
it?
to just show that he could
Well,
be
I don't
here?
know if any of you picked up
Hello?
on this. This CPS worker was in there without any paperwork, without anything, coming to
And they were
take
trying to
possession
take
of
the kid.
this kid's baby and remove them from the hospital.
That happened in
The
Texas.
traffic too, because they get buku bucks for babies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. What about HIPAA laws, right?
That's true.
That mean that would be a lawsuit against the hospital too.
Because how did the police department, how did anybody know that these people were in the hospital?
You know what I found out? I did hear that. I know I heard it in 2023, the early of 2023, that some of these hospitals have like CPS workers that have there's an office in the hospital for them for that, and that's how they're
Every
easily.
hospital in every state
Yep.
that is part of
Yep.
state owned and not
So-
privately owned, they absolutely do.
And that's crazy how they're like right there, and it's like they're shopping for these kids. It's crazy. It's
They actually have urges and
shopping for the
incentives. There was one that when we exposed and broke the story about the epidurals being drugs, and
Oh,
they
yeah.
were given, the hospital was administering the epidurals, and they went and got the ingredients list, and they said, "Look, of course I tested positive. I had an epidural administered by a doctor or a nurse under prescription. It's in my medical records. Of course I tested positive, and so did the baby. It doesn't take a scientist to take and prove it, but because it was low income families they were taking them from, that's exactly what it was. Well,
That's
you're
the whole
low income, it doesn't matter. We don't
Just
believe
'cause
you,
they're-
or maybe you've had a little history of drug use, or
Just
even
'cause-
back when it was 10 years ago. It doesn't matter. You're a chronic drug user. That's the
Judgmental.
story they're going to spend.
Judgmental, and they just.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, I mean, you guys
Poverty.
don't really know. You guys don't know the story behind my son. I've actually, I don't think I've ever talked about my older boy. But when he was born, CPS was involved. Wasn't on me, it was on his mother. They only cleared me to go in the room with my son and take my son home. They took 4 days to clear her from anything.
wow.
When did we need the government's permission to our own children?
This has been going on for years, and I mean, my son was
I'm going
born
to
in
ask a
05.
question under the Constitution. What right does government representative or actors have any right any whatsoever to
They
do that.
Sometimes I can tell you
Well, that's
guys this.
Why is this not the
Here it
question
is.
in healthcare and everything else of saying
The answer
well,
is right
guys,
here.
is whether or not we get to be Americans or even
Darren's
pursue
got
the
the answer.
American dream or even have our families to the life, liberty, and pursuit of the happiness. I got to go through government checklists. Please show me where that is in my Constitution.
Darren, show that.
why
Here it is,
is
right
it like in my case? Why is it that I have to tell them how to take care of my son when I should be able to take care of him at home? Like I had to. They didn't know nothing, and they're having. I mean, and ran into several parents like that. I mean, why should we have? If we're being
patriae
a
is
neglect or
Latin for
anything,
parents of the country or homeland.
hmm
Under parents patriae, a state or court has a paternal and protective role over its citizens or others subject to its jurisdiction. The doctrine of parents patriae is a doctrine under which the state has third-party standing to bring a lawsuit on behalf of a citizen when the suit implicates a state's quasi-sovereign interest for the well-being of its citizens. The parents patriae doctrine is also the doctrine in which all orphans, dependent children, and persons deemed incompetent are within the special protection and under the control of the state.
That's
Yes,
not
people,
freedom, my
why?
friend.
This is why they can come and take our kids. Right here.
Because you signed up to be a citizen under their jurisdiction for commercial law of everything else, which is why I went down some of the route of some people call them state nationals or anything else. When you file the paperwork, even with the federal government, your state has no jurisdiction over you. Why? You're not a citizen anymore. That's why you can look into other programs such as
That's all horse shit,
secured
man.
third-party
That's all
creditors
horse
and so on and so forth.
That is all horseshit, man. That's just that's a rabbit hole. This here is fact. Parents patriae is a fact. It's part of everything. The whole national sovereign movements, all that stuff, man. That's just ridiculous stuff that they're trying to play and get around things. And most of them get arrested because they don't even know the truth about what they're trying to do. We are all sovereign citizens.
No, Darren, I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying is there are factions of it that have leaned on it, that there are people that have come through the cases with it because they've done and figured out everything court to actually do it. I mean, I've looked at the court papers and how they've had to actually file it, and oh crap, they don't have jurisdiction. But it's a matter of filing things properly with the federal government. Almost
giving up your citizenship to the United States is one of the worst things that you could possibly do.
Well, once again, there's some things that were done. I'm still going through it. What I'm seeing so far does. But once again, a lot of it is you're not a corporate entity. No, it doesn't belong to you. That goes back under what they're trying to supersede is what's called God's law or family law or biological law. We're family.
We're going to talk about this. Where does it say in the Constitution that we can be parents?
It doesn't.
I mean, you have a
we just assume that that's part of our inalienable rights, right, or whatever. We just assume, but nowhere in here does it say that you have the right to parent, does it?
I thought there was something that said we had a fundamental right to raise
pursuit of happiness. Is that considered under life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness?
That'd be something to look into, I guess, huh, Darren?
Well, and then the question becomes whether it goes down some of the things that we're doing the right way. Well, what about trust law? Because trust law is above contract law, and the Constitution is basically contract law, is what it's saying. All the states are signing.
You can't argue Constitution, and then you can't argue business side of things. You can't keep jumping in between courts.
Well, and that's what I'm trying to say. And that's the whole point that they have been doing, Darren. That's the problem. They have been crossing courts. One should be, should the other. I mean, why do you think in some of these cases, in civil cases, some of these people are getting criminal, on stuff that it's a criminal code. But you're talking about a severe criminal code you're being slapped with in civil fucking court. I mean, imagine being in civil court. They have the ability, especially with CPSs on some of them with cases, to where they'll turn around and will accuse you of being a fucking pedophile or anything else.
If you really look into this stuff, these matters should be sitting in the probate court, if anything. This is where this stuff is
right.
Anybody want that?
So, like, that's the reality of all of this.
Yeah. But the thing is when you can't get your government actors, elected and appointed officials, to respect what you have on the screen, let alone the Fourth Amendment to come into my fucking house, let alone to question people on thing and going through all those different amendments. Okay, well, now you have to respect my religion. So long as I'm not hurting anybody or damaging property, there ain't a damn thing you can do about it. That falls under religion. Same thing with press. Hey, I can print anything I have if I believe it's fact and I have it backed up. I mean, there's even laws and case law that protect people to not reveal their sources.
Okay, so check this out. Wait, hold on. Here we go. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Here's why, again, I say to you, parents patriae is put into place. Because it's not deemed in the Constitution that we can be parents.
No.
Therefore, the states have picked up that role of saying that if you can't take care of your kids, we'll do it for you.
Yep.
And as soon as you know what, you're right. Maybe if you don't sign that birth certificate or you don't do those things, but get a marriage license. Go ahead, get a marriage license. Now you've made a contract with the state.
Yeah.
Now that you've become part of them, like there's all these.
Like I say, a lot of the people that are what you're talking about, Darren, is the reversal of what the person I'm saying that was successful on that reversed all those things or filed the proper paperwork to remove that and or share it and gain control of it.
But once you do that, you don't get access to the Constitution of the United States either. Once you become an American national or whatever, you no longer are protected under the Constitution.
Yeah.
So
there's certain things
what we really need
with you. Like I said, it's the beginning of a few things here and there. Like I said, but once again, a lot of what the new administration is saying, we have veered so far away from the very foundational things of our Constitution with all these micro managing things of statutes and codes and the other things and laws of, as some of this stuff is just stupid. I mean, when you've got to go, CPS has got to go before SCOTUS to ask why it's not all right for them to hire actors to steal children and lie on the stand. What the hell? Something's broke within all of us. These are things within our you live here. You agree that when you live here that you're going to abide by that Constitution. If not, and you fail that Constitution, that's what the term treason is for. The problem is we're not hanging people for treason like we should be. We're giving them fines and slaps on the wrist or the buddy program where, hey, if your son commits a bunch of felonies, like, what's happened with the current administration, we're just going to pardon them. What the hell is that? There's no loophole or,
how about the pre-pardon? Let's talk about that. How about pre-pardoning people? That's amazing. So you get a free get out of jail free card before you even go to jail.
Yeah.
You mean like Biden just did to a 100?
Correct.
Did we ever go back people? Think about like the history of CPS and what's played into the role? Because I know it's been reformed over the years 2 or 3 times. I know there was like 1996, 1970 or something. I'm gonna have to.
It started from the SPCA in the United States. Anyway.
And it was, and CPS goes back really like far. And what's crazy is if I'm going to have to get my notes and I'll have to get back with y'all on that because but that would play, because it's like there was this guy and a lot of what he introduced got played into the lawmaking or the rule over the years. And that's true. I mean, I'll have to go get the video I'm talking about, but it explains a lot to do with that question you asked. Like, why is it that because it's all up to what, I mean, I don't even know how it bases back or who's this gentleman. I can't find his name. And, but yes. And that would answer a lot of our questions with what you asked, dude. Yeah.
So here's the other part, Danielle, that bothers me the most is, and Derek could probably research this for it. I mean, your states when incorporated,
right? Your
states are listed with Bradstreet and Dunn as a business. Now, here's the problem with that. This has never been overturned. And when you hear the date, you're going to go, what the hell? And this is an absolute rule. It's never been done. Penhala versus Doe Administrators, 3 U.S. 54, 1 LE 57, Doll N 54, 1795, and never been overturned. Now, you know what it says?
Mm-hmm.
No corporation has jurisdiction over a natural man. If you're incorporated and you're still judging people, that means the reason that was created is you can't profit from it. Then why does CPS exist if they're profiting from it? Uh-oh. We got a problem. And the other thing is you come down to constitutional rights of your First Amendment. Let's go back to your First Amendment, your right of religion, press, all those different things that you get to have. Okay, now let's talk about religion, your belief system. If I'm of a certain belief system that every Satanist person is an evil person and not raising their child right, and I use that to come up against her, you have now filed it because of my religious belief system or my belief system. Because of that thing, that's discrimination, and that is violation of constitutional rights. What is it different than we'll not say an unorganized, but a very organized organization that comes up with a list or a set of rules of what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, but they don't have children of their own to write these particular things of what we think should be the correct way of raising kids. Now we have a problem. Because now you're incorporated telling me how to raise my children the proper American way. And if I don't, you're going to take and lose your kids, is what you're saying. That is unconstitutional. It prevents rights.
Wish I could find those notes. Wish I could.
I see where Albie's saying it. It says it's in the 14th Amendment. Right here. Thank you, Albie, for that. It says, let's see. So I imagine it's going to be here. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunity of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny any person within jurisdiction the equal protection laws. Still, though, it doesn't say
you have a right to be a parent.
Because go ahead and try to use your child as a piece of property when you go to court.
Right.
Because if that's the case, why can't we all just do writ of reprimand then? Return my property.
Y'all should try Fed rules, Civ Proc
unlawfully stolen
Rule 60B4 if judge violate laws during your case.
Yep. I've got procedural law 60. Rule 60.
Yep.
That's what they call that.
The rules of procedure, they say the fruitful tree book, and then the book of the black law book.
The fruit from the poisonous tree doctrine, and then you have
doctrine of unclean hands.
Quite a few other doctrines that come through. But listen, here's the thing. This is where I think most people mistake this, and this is the impact, and I'm going to go over this 1,000 times. Is the Chevron doctrine.
Yep.
Chevron doctrine specifically said, or what they took that is, even though it had nothing to do with anything else, what it ended up ruling was that people that labeled themselves as professionals are not subject to the laws in the courts, that they need to do what is needed done to do their profession. CPS, FBI, all of them took that on as we can now write our own rules and follow which laws we feel we need to follow. Which is why it's been challenged in court cases of going on. Do I have a PhD in history? Why do I need a piece of paper to do what I do every day to verify something? If you want to know something, have a talk with me. It's just that simple. Either I know it and you go to research it and find out it's not true. Once again, the first thing I'll tell you about anything is if you don't believe me, go down the rabbit hole and look it up yourself, and you're going to come to the same conclusion I did. Logically, but that's where it comes down to. That I will share as considered facts. Why it's verifiable. I've done the research. When you look at it from several people's eyes, you're going to come to the same thing, and you can't see it two different ways. Those are called absolutes. Do I have a PhD? No, it's called basic common sense that basically every American has been brainwashed out of having. By what? Television, by this, by entertainment, all these things, instead of your nose being in a book, learning how to read, how to enjoy reading, how to take and bring all that stuff up.
Do they even teach history in school anymore?
Shit, no. Maybe they're perspective. Remember, the winner takes and writes the history, but not both sides of the story. But you didn't know that one when it come to your history books.
Like social studies nowadays, like now my son, I'm like, you didn't learn about the great, like, and he just And my daughter's like, no, they don't. They teach more about the geographics of things
I
instead
have
of the
bachelor's degree
history.
in the closet just in case I run out of toilet paper while the store
Lady
is
P,
closed.
I'm a little interested when you say that's not all what the Chevron ruling was about. I do agree, but is there something specific that you're talking about? Please be specific when you have that will help direct and go our conversation or engage with our audience a little bit better, as being a little bit more specific with what you're talking about.
So I want to point something out that I think that Darren's onto something. So I think that we need to get it written into the Constitution about parenting.
I believe it's the same thing,
There's got
because
to be a
now
rule
they've
on that.
incorporated, but now you're
Right, Lady
you're teaching them how to just have their own thing to do it. Yeah, it shouldn't be involved. If there's something wrong, there should be a massive thing. In other words, if a crime's not committed, you've got no business coming around. Why is the state investigating in my home? And as we've already proven, you guys here on this show, in the link and everything else that we've given you guys and shared with you guys, all 50 states, the first thing they want to do is get into your damn house illegally, violating the Fourth Amendment. It requires a warrant, which requires a person to sign and say they have firsthand experience and or knowledge, a court order, which also requires the same thing of personal firsthand knowledge to get in there, or an emergency. And the emergencies that are liable or able to go in on are defined by the U.S. Supreme Court under the Constitution, which is the only one that has jurisdiction or the power to define the Constitution. Your lower courts and state courts cannot tell you, well, this is what the Constitution means or how they see it. It's not up to them to make that decision. Matter of fact, that's an illegal thing for a state judge to even do. It's a violation of what they do because they don't have jurisdiction on that. Where she was talking about what happens if you don't have jurisdiction. Well, right there is going to tell you, if you've had a judge do that to you or a magistrate, they just broke the law, because they don't. That means it should have changed jurisdiction. They can't interpret the Constitution or what it means or how those rights are invoked or not invoked. The state does not have jurisdiction on those decisions of what they agree or what they don't agree on. There's the thing that does and is part of your case, 100%. So, family court, they insulated themselves under the doctrine enough to get Rooker versus Feldman passed, to where they're saying family courts, that the federal government doesn't have jurisdiction over it, which is why when we say you file your federal case and everything else you do, stay away from the terminology of family court. When they bring it up, then you reiterate, I'm not talking about anything that is family court issues. I'm dealing with a constitutional rights issue, which does affect this case. They have to take the case then. And 90% of the time when you have cases like that, you're going to write your questions. Isn't this right, Darren? Darren's going to give you that's a thumbs up 100%. The judge, you're just going to write in your questions. And the judge is going to write back his response to everybody of case law, quoting everything else, and that's considered his ruling. You never have to show up to a courtroom or anything. It's submitting your constitutional questions, which means your state case, when you file those, including your change of jurisdiction, what for, has to stop. They can't do anything. They can adopt your kids out. They can't put them in foster care. All of that freezes when the jurisdiction changes, because they can't do shit. And matter of fact,
and they're not supposed to. And if they refuse you the challenge of jurisdiction, it's supposed to be an automatic mistrial.
Dismissal. Yeah, or dismissal.
And they don't do that either.
Nope.
They don't.
But if they don't follow what the ruling said from the upper court and didn't follow it specifically, you don't feel it did, you have the right to go back to that federal judge to hold them in contempt and then take control of the case and dismiss the case. They have the ability to do that, even though the judge has already done the gavel in the state court. That federal judge has got every right to take and reverse that real fast. And the first thing you do when you go to court, don't go to family court. Tell them you want a civil court trial. You want to go to civil court every single time. Why? Because it gets you out of that loophole versus Rooker versus Feldman. If you've been to civil court or escalated your case to an appeal and it's gone to civil, you don't fall under Rooker versus Feldman anymore. Why? Because it's an appeal. Now you're in civil court. Now you're dealing with the facts in your civil case.
Yep.
That's a completely different thing. Rooker versus Feldman says family court. So if you do file and you are in family court, please make sure you don't use anything about family court. It's all about constitutional rights. That's how you get a jurisdiction change. Because then you're going to challenge the court directly and say, Your Honor, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you have jurisdiction over telling me what constitutional rights apply and don't apply and how they apply in this particular case? And if that judge says yes, you call the FBI and DOJ and you report right there because it's on the record and they'll be arrested immediately because they do not. And if they assume to go for it, it's a federal crime.
Now, if you guys want to see what federal court's like, check this out. I'll show you guys this.
Ooh,
this is a
they call
TikTok
it big
video
boy
I did.
court.
Let me see here.
It's a man fighting for his kids, gruesome balls. Check this out. You need to watch this. It's very important.
Federal dollars, Title IV funding is, in my opinion, the reason we are all here today. Greed, HIPAA violations, big egos, failure of duty, breach of contracts, forced contracts, perjury, fraud, and abuse of process are just the tip of the iceberg in this case. I have consistently completed every task and more on the service plan. I paid for a hair follicle test to the tune of $1,200 out of pocket, which irrefutably proved I was in sustained remission. At this time is when DCF and High Point Treatment Center were going at it as to who was at fault. Then I guess it just made more financial sense to cover each other and turn on my son and I. I have been assaulted, threatened, gaslit, and called crazy, to say the least.
So, sir, are you saying that you hadn't used substances, but there was a false positive test?
Yes.
Any of that sound familiar to any of you out there?
Yep.
Any of you have those problems?
Yep.
Check this out.
He was adequate until this stuff started happening to be someone you were going to return the child to. Then things happen. And I'm trying to figure out how it can be that someone who's on track to get their child, I mean, there's lots of ways it could be, but someone who's on track to get their child, you're not reporting in complete things about taking the kid to McDonald's, you know, and locking the car doors. And there's, so far as I can see, there's nothing like that before April 2021. And then that starts. And I'm not saying that's not adequate to terminate parental rights. The question is, what makes you think it's not going to stop? Particularly since I don't think you even know what's causing it. So,
Is it so? Is there one good judge? Lighting up this DHS witch? Let's watch.
Even before 2021, a father struggling with his mental health issues.
DCF was very content with him until April of 2021. When was the trial held?
So the first trial in this matter, Your Honor, was held.
The real trial.
So it began in November 9th, 2021.
Okay, so 7 months after these symptoms begin is when the trial is. And the court has to find clear and convincing evidence that these things will continue indefinitely into the future.
Yes, that is correct.
And what is the basis for that finding?
So the basis for that finding, Your Honor, is, as I said, the sort of rapid decline that we see starting in April of 2021. And the department would argue that that is characteristic of a longer pattern of behavior, that yes, that behavior got substantially worse.
6 days ago, Boston.
So that's it. That guy lost, by the way. He lost in the federal court. I was in Boston.
Boston, yeah. Boston.
Yeah. Boston. But, you know, we all just need to keep getting our heads together and figuring out what the hell we've got to do to win this stuff, man. You know, that's what we all got to do. We all just got to keep pounding away and doing this so that we can figure it out. Because I'm telling you right now, and I've always said it, we're missing this. We have oversimplified this. We've made this way more difficult than it needs to be.
Yeah.
It's something very simple that all of us have missed, and we need to just figure it out. We put our heads together. Thank you guys, everybody that's expanding. Absolutely right. Jurisdiction doesn't work most of the time.
Sharon,
but it's about,
also understand when you do that jurisdictional change, they can try and deny it. But if you've already got it filed and you send in a copy that you've already filed in federal court for that, because you have to actually fill out the form at the federal courthouse for the change of jurisdiction, it actually sends a notification to the lower court.
Depends on what jurisdiction you're trying to change.
Yeah.
You have multiple jurisdictions. You have subject matter, you have the place of venue. I think there's 4 or 5 of them that are all together.
Yeah.
There's 5 because we went over them on my show on Saturday.
Good deal.
So you just got to know how to file, where to file.
No, Albie, I loved it. Thank you very much. No, Albie, don't misinterpret what we were saying there.
Right. Thank you for sharing with us. We all can learn from each other. We all can learn from each other.
Get it out and go through things. Understand that. Let's put it this way: it's like asking Albert Einstein. Hey, you failed. It took them 100 times to take and invent a light bulb. I'm sure you guys have heard some of those things. Like an example. Well, why did you quit after like the 98th time or 99? Why? Because it only took one way to figure it out. We may have a lot of things of attacking CPS over since they've grown into power since the 80s and progressively gotten worse and more aggressive just because we haven't found a way to do it. The problem, the big thing that we've been talking about too is we've given them enough rope now. They've hung themselves by printing the fact that they have violated constitutional rights and they're stealing children to do it. Whether they're justified in anything else, the fact that you cross that threshold of a Fourth Amendment violation then falls under the doctrines we were talking about, fruit from a poisonous tree. That means once they entered your house illegally, your case should have stopped. That person should have been chastised, retrained, or anything else, maybe the first time or something like this. But they're training them to do it, is the point. They're using your tax dollars and federal funds to train employees, both state and subcontractors, to violate your Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, 14th Amendment rights. They just walk in under the false flag of we're here to protect children bullshit. And that's already been ruled on right after COVID-19. That the federal court has already issued, SCOTUS has issued, under no circumstances is the Constitution suspended, nor are the constitutional rights ever suspended at any time, even in war, pandemic, epidemic, doesn't matter what it is. The Constitution still stands in this country and does not fall, is what it has.
What about under martial law?
What's that?
What about under martial law? Do we still have constitutional rights under martial law?
There are still basic constitutional rights. I mean, you can restrict your way to travel. I mean, you have ways to travel, but once again, they can warn you. They can't stop you. There's the other part that has been crossed. If I decide I want to go in there and that's my choice, you have no right to stop me. If it's radiation, it gets me killed. That's my personal choice. Once again, that goes down to a lot of things. My choice. You're telling me I can or cannot do under my Constitution unless I'm doing one of two things. I'm injuring another person, bodily harm or anything else, injuring, and we're not talking about speech because that's covered. Or, I'm not going to hurt nobody, or you're damaging property, which needs to have restitution to restore that property back to the way it was. Other than that, under the Constitution, nothing else exists. The rest are regulations and other things for commercial. They're for commercial traffic. They're for commercial this, that. They can make recommendations for the road, but on a lot of things, hey, this road on this curve coming up, you can only go this fast safely. But they have to accommodate every single vehicle, including heavy top weighted things or truckers. That's why a lot of times you'll see your signs. We couldn't post 1 speed limit. We have to what? Post 2. Why? Those vehicles could be possibly at the max end of heaviness on the road to go slower. If it's
required. Hey, have you guys ever heard of this Monell claim?
I just sent it to you, Darren.
The Monell claim?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it does fall under sections 1983, which is color of law.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But once again, why do we have to do this stuff? Because common sense isn't common anymore. Okay? Things that natural selection would have taken out with people that had common sense got people killed. Your product's dangerous. No, when it comes down to it, the operator is the one that is dangerous. Our equipment does whatever it needs to do on how the operator tells it to do. But like hot coffee from McDonald's, who would have thought a cold cup of coffee was coming through? Well, it was just this temperature. Okay, it was a little hot. Blow on it. Oh, but it spilled. Sounds like you
Oh my
should have
God.
walked better or done this better or something. Was there a failure? Nope. Somebody just had fumbly hands and it came down to he said, she said, then it went over temperature. Well, you're doing it at so many different degrees and you didn't warn them it's hot. It's coffee. But now we have to define that. Well, now you've gone that. Now we have iced coffee. Now we have frozen coffee. Now we have this. So now you have to mark which ones are hot or cold because we have no common sense anymore.
Yeah. Well, dumb is dumb is. All right, guys, let's do last thoughts. Herbert, last thoughts.
Last thoughts. When you have CPS come to your door, and they have an officer come to your door, if they do not have a warrant from the judge signed or sealed, depending on what state you live in, you do not have to let them in your home. You will not be arrested. And if they do have the sealed documentation to enter your home, and you have contraband that's out clearly in the open, be aware of the fact that you can be arrested for that. For anything that's in clear view.
Yes, sir. Danielle, last thoughts.
Keep Carrie's family in your thoughts and prayers, please. Just to get through this, and keep fighting. And like Carrie would say, never give up. Keep fighting, and just be yourself. And you know what you're able to do. Just don't give up. Like, exactly, pack it up. Because one, we can do it, yeah. But with all of us together as one, we're unstoppable. So let's make it happen, and I'm gonna carry on her memory in the podcast that I do. So just keep fighting, everyone.
Oh yeah, even that.
Mm-hmm.
Vinny.
Well, my last words are going to be this. Carrie, we love and miss you. We know that you're resting in peace and you're up with God because you are one of God's children. You were a fighter from the get-go when I first met you. I love the hell out of you. You helped me tremendously. And my thoughts are with Greg and Colton. And I wish the best for Greg to get Colton and have custody of him because he deserves to be able to raise that child where he's been with him this entire time. And don't forget tomorrow night, guys, at 7:30 is CPS Victims Hunting Justice Vinny edition.
Yep. All right. Yes, sir. Mr. Gunner.
Sorry, I was taking some notes on that Monel to run down that rabbit hole. I appreciate that information. That's what we're here is to share some great information. I know Carrie was, what Intercounter. I think we did a show one time with her, Darren. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's one of those things of just keep with it, keep persistent, keep gaining that knowledge, keep finding a way to fight, and just don't give up, even all the way to your last breath.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's right.
All right. Yeah. Carrie, I want to say to her family, God bless you, and whatever you guys need, you know where we are and how to get a hold of us. And you know what, Carrie was going to be greatly missed, and she did a lot for us, even though she didn't always be on the front of this. She really did a lot, and she will be definitely missed. So if you guys can donate to her family a little bit, I'm not asking anybody to. I'm just saying if it's a chance that you can, please do so. I'm sure that they could definitely use it. And don't forget, guys, anytime that we ever are, like Albie, when we were just out there, when we were looking at your stuff, we're not ridiculing anybody by looking at your information. We're not anything, but you bring us information, we're going to look about it, discuss it, and that's it. There's no ill towards you. No one's making fun of anybody. The only way we can conquer all this is to work together and find a solution.
That's right.
That's what we got to do. So don't be intimidated. Don't be scared to share. Don't nothing. Just do it.
Right. That's what she would say. Yep.
The faster we can work together, the more we can accomplish and get this shit done.
And everyone in
That being
the
said,
audience, Darren, everyone in the audience, like we thank y'all for keeping her family in your thoughts, and we're not ignoring y'all when y'all do comment. We see them, but I just wanted to put that out there. Thank y'all. We do appreciate y'all being here, and look forward to many more. So,
all right, guys.
Yep.
I am the CPS Punisher, and we are out of here. Have a good night,
Bye,
everybody.
everyone. Bye. Good night.
I had a date with the devil, then I changed the schedule. Earned several medals by slanging that heavy metal. Turquoise and a feather, speaking to the spirits. Baby, tell me you can hear it. I die for what I hold dearest. Hope it never has to come to that. Promise I'm never gonna run from that. Stand my ground like a man, draw the line in the sand. Yeah, family over everything, regardless how it land. I'd be damned if my soul damned. And me and karma gotta hold hands. I'll go to war any minute, I'll be fighting for my children, so the enemy got no chance. I'm a warrior for what's right, even though I did some wrong things. I wanted to get on for my offspring, tried to do it big so my kids could enjoy all of the small things. They say they could die young, I'm still breathing. I'm the son of the righteous, but my father was a heathen. When I go with him, I'm leaving a story worth reading, or a bunch of tales that probably drive my children off the deep end. Said it could die young, I'm still breathing. I may have ran with some demons, but I never been a heathen. I believed all along, writing my wrongs in my songs. I put family over everything till everything was gone. Yeah, I know I've been a bad guy, but I always had a good heart. Played the part of a villain, been a hero for my children. When I'm no longer living, just remember all the good parts. I know I've been a bad guy, but I always had a good heart. Played the part of a villain, been a hero for my children. When I'm no longer living, just remember all the good parts. I had a talk with the angels, told me I'm in danger. Look at my reflection, see the image of a stranger. Been a long ride, what will I do with the remainder? Good die young, so my species are endangered. In the jungle with my guns out. Been through the storm, but the sun's out. I see the clouds coming, I'm not running from the flood, cause it's time the enemy is gonna get flushed out. I'm on the pirate ship with all my gold. It can sink, the story still be told. This is the tale of the hopeless, I'm the poet of the broken, never true words spoken from the soul.
You good, bro?
Yeah.
You look like you just buried a body.
You could say that. They say they could die young, I'm still breathing. I'm the son of the righteous, but my father was a heathen. When I go with him, I'm leaving a story worth reading, or a bunch of tales that probably drive my children off the deep end. Said it could die young, I'm still breathing. I may have ran with some demons, but I never been a heathen. I believed all along, writing my wrongs in my songs. I put family over everything till everything was gone. Yeah, I know I've been a bad guy, but I always had a good heart. Played the part of a villain, been a hero for my children. When I'm no longer living, just remember all the good parts. I know I've been a bad guy, but I always had a good heart. Played the part of a villain, been a hero for my children. When I'm no longer living, just remember all the good parts.
You'll never guess.
Mango, mango, mango.
Taco, 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 taco,
Oh,
cantaloupe,
it's.
cantaloupe,
I
watermelon,
love it.
watermelon,
I love. That's awesome. Mango, mango, mango. That's my favorite.
Oh my god, yeah.
So he,
Oh my
but he does it in 3s or 4s. It tap tap
That was
taps.
like
So that's
20. I hit clear.
but that's but he does that, right? So that's like a
Right,
stim.
right.
Is that a stimming?
See? Yep.
Okay.
And then I'm on the wrong side. There's the
That
homepage.
is
Whoops.
right.
So and
That is
like Chris,
awesome.
Chris, this would be the cards I would send you.
Right.
So and then it goes to the motion page. See? And
That's
then,
what's up. That's awesome. So
excited.
So he can use he uses that, and that will that lead because I know like older is it older the one they spell out their words, I guess but is
you
that
can
how
do that
they
on
write
here
out
too.
okay, so
You
they
can
do
do it on here
have
too.
both ways. Okay,
That's how Greg does it all the time. I don't ever do it
look,
that way.
I
I know
would
the cards.
I wish I would I mean that would be cool to learn how to like what they're thinking, like how their brain
He
like
can
how their
retell a book.
mind
Like
right.
he can retell a whole book on this.
Wow.
Like you read a book to him, and he'll look at that book and go page by page and tell you, say it back to you with the talker, but not with
Wow.
his words.
See, when my son was little, like younger, they had like hooked on phonics or whatever, or the
Right.
rose, or it wasn't nothing like. But he did like the tablet, but he was on YouTube a lot, and he expressed himself. He expressed himself through YouTube like a good bit, and but he was verbal, but he still got caught up on his some of what he was trying to say because he didn't. They explained it to me like his mind was going so fast that it was too overwhelming for him, and it would be too much, so he'd get overwhelmed, and he'd start he'd have that's when he showed his outbursts, because it was just too meltdown. That's the word. It'd be my tantrum.
Stimming is also what they do, and stimming is like when you see Colton like move things like this, like multiple things of multiple. Like that's why we can't have Q-tips in the house or a whole bunch of batteries, like AA batteries. I can't buy a big pack of them.
So like
slide on the floor.
Well, like stimming, like and I'm going to tell you,
That's what stimming is. Stimming is when you're like moving things.
And I'm new to that because ever since my son's been out at this facility, I was wondering because that wasn't some like when my son was diagnosed and whatnot at 3. This was 2000 and I want to say 7, 8 because he was born. He was 1 to 3. He was normal. He was fine. He didn't have. He was up to par. Like he was developing with the chart, and then like I said, we laid him down that night, and it could have been anything. I'd be who he is today if it was not for that my nanny. She is the one that. I mean, when I was having him, she's like trying to catch a football. Come on, boy, like that was because my papa said, he said, Nanny, I can't hang on anymore. He said, take care of that boy. And my nanny, and it gave her more years and it brought, and I mean, she lived, my papa passed in 2005 and she passed in 2018. So and I do believe that my boy gave her a longer, you know what I'm saying? She lived longer, and then my son learned how to be himself, who he is, because she had the passion, like she had the patience. Because I tell you, I had to learn from her because I hit the floor when he went back to baby mode. I didn't know what to do. I was shocked, but it's like instantly she knew what to do. She jumped right in and bang, whoa. Like, how did you do that? I know you guys are 7 kids, but like how Because I mean, I freaked out. She held him, and that's the kind. And then my mother was, you know, and she was the same way. And just how did you? And I had to learn. My nanny taught me a lot, because with an autistic child that don't have no idea what and I don't have no idea. Like, he was talking the night before and told me he loved me in a full sentence, but now I know my sound sucks. Here we go.
All right, I didn't know if you got it.
And maybe it'll work.
Good job.
Just kidding.
You're just garbled.